and I have just one question for you guys. Is this the best offseason in Dallas Mavericks history, and why is the answer yes? Well, we're going to tell you why the answer is yes on today's show. Harrison Graham, Jeffrey Cooperstein here on Dallas Mavericks Today. And Coop, we just thought it'd be a good time after signing Spencer Dinwiddie with things mostly set to just kind of go over the changes that Nico Harrison has made this offseason.
I think the answer to this question is an easy yes, by the way. I think in the 45-year history of the Dallas Mavericks, they have not had an offseason as, I would say, positive as this one. I can't remember an offseason where the vibes were as high as they are on July 25th or wherever we're at right now, 23rd, than they have been ever. So I do think this is the best offseason in franchise history. Now, obviously, that will be proven by the results or lack thereof, but we'll see what happens. This was a great and fun offseason for the Mavericks.
Yeah, you look at the roster shuffling that has taken place here, and I think this is kind of the easiest way to do it when you just kind of match up like role for role positions. Yeah, guys out, guys in. Josh Green out, Quentin Grimes in. We've kind of talked about that. I think at worst that's going to end up being a push, but I also think we've seen like Grimes' best so far in his career has been better than anything Josh Green has provided.
No doubt.
He's a more versatile defender, and he percentage-wise it wouldn't show you, but on a higher volume of three-point attempts, he's been a capable shooter in the past, and he hasn't played with Luka Doncic, which guys' percentages typically go up in those situations.
Grimes, I think, is going to have a big year for the Mavs, especially in a contract year. Again, the Mavs do have the option to extend him right up until the eve of the season, so we'll see if Nico Harrison wants to go that route. But I think he's primed for a big year, whether he gets that contract extension or not. The Naji Marshall and Derrick Jones kind of swap is interesting because they are different players. Marshall is more of a 3-4 on defense, whereas Jones was guard more of 2s and 3s. Yeah. I think he's a little bigger and a little longer, but I also think he's a better shooter and a better creator on the offensive end and kind of fits better there as well.
Yeah, he can handle the ball a little bit, especially how he shot last year. He's a better three-point shooter, and you would think playing with Luka would help in that regard. You lose a little bit of that front court or transition explosiveness, but he's a pretty good athlete as well. So, again, I think at worst you're probably looking like a similar type of production, but I think there's more potential there with Marshall for sure. The third one's easy.
Self-explanatory.
Regardless of what you think Klay Thompson is now, there's no doubt he's a notable upgrade over Tim Hardaway Jr. If he's exactly what he was last year, it's a clear upgrade, and I think there's reason to believe that he's going to be a little bit better. I think he's going to be motivated. I think he feels like he's got something to prove. And playing with Luka and Kyrie, as crazy as that sounds, that's a better situation that he's had the last couple of years in Golden State. So I think that's where the clear just like, okay, yeah, this is a big win for Nico comes in.
100%. And then Spencer Dinwiddie, who the Mavs signed yesterday, I think is an upgrade over A.J. Lawson. Now, of course, the Mavs haven't officially cut Lawson yet, but all reports indicate that they are going to do so to bring back Markieff Morris. So we added Lawson to this list. I think the team got better overall, and I think the main reason is because this front office operates proactively, whereas the old regime with Donnie Nelson, they would have their plan A, they'd strike out, and then they'd be, oh shit, let's move on to plan B, C, and D. This front office goes out and gets their guys.
The old regime, too, I think, Coop, would have made the finals last year and just been like, let's just run it back.
Yep.
And I think that's a dangerous way to operate. And I kudos to Nico because it'd be easy to fall into that trap. Like, hey, Luka's still young. Lively's a rookie. Like, you still got some young ascending players. Like, let's just run it back. But it's like, you got so overwhelmed by Boston. It's like you had to make changes.
Running it back was not an option.
And you look at how you lost that series and the way you lost it, you couldn't score. So what do? You add Klay Thompson, a legit number 3 scorer and a floor spacer. You get Naji Marshall, who is a more capable offensive player compared to Derrick Jones, but still is going to help replace his defense. So you do little things to try and close the gaps on where you came up short last year.
Absolutely.
So that's how you should operate a front office. And when you're a fan of a sports team, all you want to do is have your team do everything they can to try to win. If it doesn't work out, hey, it doesn't work out. But you don't want to be the Oakland A's and never spend money and know you have no chance. Like, this team is doing everything they can to win. Whether or not they get it done, that remains to be seen. But you got to be pleased with the process, and now we hope that it turns into the result we're looking for, which is carrying a Larry O.B. next year.
If you're happy with Nico Harrison's moves this offseason, I know I am. Please be sure to hit that thumbs up icon and like the video and send it out to all your other Mavs fan friends. We love getting new people in on the videos all the time, so please hit the thumbs up icon. I think Nico's had a great offseason, and I think you guys do as well.
Yeah, I mean, you could say he had the best offseason of any executive by a pretty wide margin. Now, something else that I like, and hopefully you will do, is going to games, going to Mavericks games. You got Cowboys games coming up with the preseason first and then the regular season as well. Today's show is sponsored by Game Time, the best ticketing app that exists, because what they offer is a great deal. Promo code ChatSports, $20 off your first ticket. Terms apply there. First time order, by the way. If you already have the app, then you would not apply. But if you're a new customer, ChatSports is the code, $20 off. And they give you the best deals with tickets. Last-minute tickets is what they specialize in, flash deals, because they're trying to put butts in seats. They're trying to get people to these events. And I got to tell you, I fulfilled a lifelong dream last week by going to the Home Run Derby. It was here in DFW. It was a blast, and we got our tickets through Game Time. We said, you know what, day of the Derby, let's see what prices are looking like. There were some good deals, and we found some good seats up in the third level and got to watch those guys hit dingers. So if you want to go to a sporting event, concert, comedy show, theater event, check out Game Time. Use promo code ChatSports to get $20 off today. You can see exact vantage points of what your seats are going to be. You're going to see the best deals available. You can pay with your Venmo balance, which is cool. It's Game Time. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, you look at the roster now, Coop. I mean, Spencer Dinwiddie kind of felt like the final piece.
Agreed.
You've got, obviously, your two primary ball handlers and offensive creators, and Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving. Klay Thompson as your kind of number 3 scorer and floor spacer. P.J. Washington, who I think is going to kind of continue to embrace this just muck-it-up, dirty role, who can also provide some offensive punch. Two centers, and Lively and Gafford, both can start, both can be backups. I would expect Lively starts, but we'll see how that all plays out. But then I think this is where this team separates in the West too, Coop, is the depth is going to be tough to match in this conference.
Absolutely.
Like, you've got a legitimate playmaker off the bench in Spencer Dinwiddie. If Jaden Hardy continues to evolve, he can be kind of a fourth one. Dante Exum is kind of a 3-and-D guard. Naji Marshall, 3-and-D wing. Maxi Kleber, versatile front court player who can defend and, you know, is a streaky shooter as well. Like, there's not really any weaknesses on this team. Like, you depth, check. Starting 5, check. Star power, check. Elite 3-point shooter, check. Like, where's the weakness? I don't know. I mean, maybe they got a tick worse defensively on paper this offseason, but with how good they defended last year, if the offense takes a jump, then I think you're going to live with that overall.
Absolutely. It's hard to find a weakness on this team right now. I think they're pretty strong in basically every area. And I do think they improved from where they were a month ago, which is pretty crazy to say because they represented the West in the NBA Finals. And I think it's them and Oklahoma City are the two favorites to go back to the finals as well, given what they did this offseason. So it all depends on the health of the team, basically. I think if Luka can get healthier, get in better shape, and kind of withstand the blows that he took last offseason and be healthier going into the postseason, I think the Mavs really have a shot to win this thing.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Go ahead. No, I just wanted to break down the moves a little bit individually, the moves that they made this offseason. Obviously, trading Tim Hardaway was their first order of business, and they got that done. And the bonus is kind of Quentin Grimes. Like, I don't think they expected a player of Grimes' ability to be even available. They were going to offload Hardaway for nothing, basically. Getting Grimes back, who is, I think, an asset of value, was a great move by Harrison, and they accomplished their main goal, which was to get rid of Tim Hardaway.
Yeah, to me, this was kind of, I don't know, this is the classic, this is why bad teams stay bad. Like, the Detroit would rather take on Tim Hardaway to get 3 second-round picks to lose Quentin Grimes. Like, I just don't get that mindset. Like, I would rather take 1 less second-round pick or even 2 less and keep Grimes in that situation. Like, Who are you going to find in the second round that is a 3-and-D contributor right away like he was? Like, sure, they're out there. They're not easy to find, though, in the second round. Like,
they're not a dime a dozen.
I don't get that at all from Detroit, so that was a great value move from Dallas. Like, even if Grimes doesn't work out, like, you got Tim off the books. That was it was kind of a bonus. Naji Marshall, once Derrick Jones switched agents, Coop, that made that thing tricky. And again, I think when you compare regimes, Donnie Nelson, decent guy, but like,
would he have gone out and signed Naji Marshall?
No, I think he would. I think he would have waited this out, and more often than not, they probably would have gotten burned in the past, and then they would have ended up with like some random guy for $5 million where you're hoping it works out, and instead you get a guy who's at least equal caliber and provides more, I think, physicality and toughness, ruggedness as a player. And I think gives you more potential overall as well.
Like
for the same price, by the way.
Yeah, exact same price. The Mavs had the standing offer of 3 years, $27 million for Jones, and then once he switched agents over to Clutch Sports, the Mavs quickly moved on. Like I said earlier, they are proactive as opposed to reactive, and I think it's a very good sign going forward. And then obviously the Klay Thompson move. He was clearly the top priority for the Mavs, and as they identified shooting as their biggest need, and they went out and got their guy, which is something they have never done.
They've never executed Plan A ever. The only time they came close was the Wes Matthews, DeAndre Jordan combo, and we know what happened with Jordan that offseason. I guess you could say Chandler Parsons, but I feel like they were bigger fish hunting that year too. They identified Klay. I think what made this a good execution and B just smart is, okay, we're going to take a swing here, but it's not some crazy swing the prior regime would have tried.
Exactly.
Like, you're not getting Melo, man. Why even try?
Risk.
Like, it's just stupid. Like, Klay Thompson, a guy who's a little out of his prime. The Warriors are kind of in a transition. He's frustrated with this current team. That's a guy you can go get. So we're going to sell him and say, hey, you're going to be our number 3 guy playing with Luka and Kyrie. You're going to get awesome looks, and you got a chance to win a title. And he flat out said it. Yeah, I went there because they gave me the best chance to win. I watched them in the playoffs, liked how they played.
There you go.
He chose the Mavericks over the Lakers, who offered more money, which, by the way, as we get to Spencer Dinwiddie, that was reported yesterday as well, that the Lakers wanted to bring him back. So you got 2 guys that LA wanted to get that they could not, and you did. So I think that shows credibility within the organization.
Yep.
Head coach, where say what you want about Jason Kidd, players like him, and clearly Nico is a relationship guy. Like he can connect to these athletes largely due to however long he was at Nike, building those type of relationships, and it's worked. That was a swing at the time. Give Mark Cuban credit, man. I know he's not the owner anymore, but he went out and got Nico. It was kind of a curveball type of hire, but he went with the relationship building type of hire rather than this guy has been an assistant GM for 20 years. He's ready for this opportunity. Not that route is bad by any means, but it worked.
They went outside the box and it worked.
It changed the organization and potentially forever because, 12, 18 months ago, we were scared that Luka Doncic may not be here, and now that's not even a discussion anymore.
So. I can confidently say that the Mavs have never beaten the Lakers out for a free agent, and they kind of did it twice in this offseason. They absolutely did it with Klay Thompson. You can say they did it with Dinwiddie as well.
And they did it with Plan A despite offering less money.
Exactly.
That's pretty notable, man.
We're a long way away from the Danny Green saga a few years ago when he used the Mavs as leverage on his podcast, but that's neither here nor there. It was a fantastic offseason, Harrison. I don't think it could have gotten much better.
Look, at the end of the day, we got to see how it looks on the court, but it's late July, and we don't see these guys play for a few months, so all we can go on is what we know, and on paper, I don't see how it's anything less than really an A+.
Agreed.
I try to not be, overly biased Mavs fan, but that's just how I see it, man.
I'm telling everyone in the Chat Sports office that we will be playing in June. It's a matter of whether the Celtics or the Knicks or the Sixers will be playing the Mavericks in June. Yes. I'm that confident. I think this team will be back
there. If they're healthy, I think they're built to make a deep run once again, and not just for 1 year either. All right, Coop, good stuff. We'll be back with more rumors, news, whatever pops. Once the AJ Lawson, Markieff Morris swap happens, which
we'll have that covered.
Will happen, we will have that covered as well. Until then, hit that subscribe button and go Mavs.
See you guys.